Man, all right. I have a great direction. Got a little surprise for you guys today. I think it's going to be fun. Right guys are in the room. I saw Pilo come in. Where's Paulo? Okay, he's got his video off. That's okay. He's with us. Good morning, good afternoon, P. Paulo, how we doing, brother? How's Miami this morning?
Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing?
Good.
We're solid. Drop the video again. That's okay. These things happen on the phone. Text messages, calls, it makes the screen go black. I see it all the time. All right, so here we go. We're gonna jump in. I'm gonna start. We're gonna respect you guys' time and set the table right because this is his show, not mine or ours. So I'm gonna open us up in a short prayer to get us centered. If you're driving, don't close your eyes. Closing your eyes is a man-made thing. God hears you with your eyes open. Father, I thank you for your attention, your care, your cultivating heart in our personal lives as men with first names and hurts and bad habits and idiosyncrasies and weird things with our bodies. And you love us right where we are in this fleshly thing. And you've brought us together for a special purpose to develop your men to your will. We submit to you in our hearts. We believe in you and we carry doubts, and we need you to help us with our unbelief this morning. We need you to help us see the insights of what you see in us rather than what the world's put on us or what mental warfare has led us to believe. We trust you. We follow your lead, Lord Jesus. Take us. We are your men. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Anyway, last 2 weeks. I need to know if somebody wants to volunteer, throw a hand up, whatever, so we can see and keep it orchestrated a little bit, organized. But who's got some wins or some victories or some successes, even small ones, especially small ones around the kitchen with the kids, the grandkids, whatever we're doing, the workplace, the bosses, some of us, the athletic departments. Who's got something they want to talk about? I think Mike's ready to go. Is that you're holding the O?
No, I'm good.
No,
We
you're
had
not
a,
holding the handle. Okay, that you're not raising the
I
hand.
am
You're
holding
holding
the
the
handle.
handle.
It's fine. Also, but yeah, I'll
Thought
go
you
real
were
quick.
pulling the ripcord to eject, bro. Like if this dude keeps going, I'm flying through the roof. Anyway,
No,
do we
that would
have
be fun
anything
though.
like that, or do I need to volunteer? Yeah,
Okay, no, I
Michael,
got it.
please take the floor. I'll do this. Mike is gonna volunteer for us, ladies and gentlemen. No, wrong one.
I'm going. Me? Yeah, so I've just been struggling with my own personal, demons, and I got to a point last week where I was just like, I've just had enough of it. I didn't know, didn't have a plan in action or anything, just really a desire, some prayer, just some one-on-one time with God. And then Monday, Monday it's cold, right? So I say, well, I'm just going to start jumping in the pool again, start doing those cold plunges again. Just start there, right? That was really all I could come up with is was that. And those things that I had been struggling with had pretty quickly fallen off this week, right? Without a ton of struggle. I mean, I had my moments, but for me to make it, for me kind of being like a pit, right? And then to just hit the ground running, going 7 days straight of stuff I wanted to cut out of life, just felt good. So today, church gave some thanks, felt the spirit move, and can't really put a rhyme or reason to why or how I did it. Just but that tells me that the spirit's working in me. So yeah, it was good. It was a good feeling to go like all 7 days without as much struggle as I thought I would experience.
Mm. When things fell off, melted away, as you were saying, what what did that tangibly feel like, or did you see the practical insights you were getting between getting in cold and basically doing hard things, and then how those things fell off?
Right.
Specifically, what did you feel?
So when you get into a cold plunge, it trains you to do something you don't want to do, and then not do something you want to do, right? So you don't want to get in the water, so you're hardwiring yourself to overcome that. Then you want to get out, and you're fighting that feeling of that. So it just trains the brain and primes the brain to kind of fight a battle. And then you release a lot of feel good chemicals after the process, which rewards the process. And I think for me, it helps with the urges, right? When you have an urge or you have a tendency or, something that is just becomes a second nature habit that you're trying to fight, it primes you for that. And then, spiritually, on the back end of it, I didn't it revealed some stuff later in the week as things got difficult, but it really, the blessing was in that the struggle wasn't as hard as it has been in the past.
So you're literally coming up against resilience or something that would be normally challenging, or maybe you would take an action that isn't totally lined up with your core beliefs. And I'm not saying like violating moral or ethical character, but
Right.
maybe, but those things are coming like, and in those moments where it's a tougher decision, literally you're connecting it directly to that physical act of letting yourself suffer the pain.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it kind of creates a bridge
If I can do
for sure.
that,
Right.
okay, I
Right.
can apply that direct thing of doing what I don't want to do,
Right.
that's good for me or should do,
Right.
to this thing right here in the office or with my wife or with my kids.
Right. Yeah, it's like a half step, in the process. It's taking a half step because it's not as jumping in a cold pool and staying in there for 5 minutes is not as easy as whatever struggle you're going up against. But it's a warm up to the process, right?
Yeah.
And I did it first thing I would do it first thing in the morning, and I think that really set the tone for the day of like, okay, if you're gonna endure some suck for a bigger cause here, then you can push that farther as the day continues. It just sets the tone.
And you're talking, do you guys hear him? He's talking about like the micro day, like the stuff that comes along during that day. So like, do you do is it like a shower where you got to keep doing it every day or every other day
I
to keep
did,
going?
I did, just because it wasn't so much. I'm not doing it for the physical benefits of getting in cold water. I'm doing it for the mental benefits, and it ties the spiritual too, is where you can overcome your mind, right? You can open up your heart, and so I think that's it. It's putting yourself second in a situation where you're saying like, all right, I'm gonna endure some suck here and prime myself to make good decisions for the long term.
Yep. For that hot. Wow. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Who else got something? I don't need you to. I don't need to force it. Only if you want to. I got something on tap.
I did the same thing, Mike. I didn't have as much of a breakthrough as you did, but definitely punishing myself to get my mind right and to get my heart in line. But we had a little bit of a scare of my wife's health, and her results came back non-cancerous. So that was a blessing this week.
Amen.
Just taking the baby steps in terms of staying positive there. So
And Steve, for cold plunging, you just walk out on your porch, right?
Yeah, it's 24 degrees today. Yeah.
I envy it.
All right. Are we good then? Are we good for the? I got a video that I want to share with you guys again because I like the videos, man. I love movies and videos. They're very. Are we good to go on that, or anybody else want to shoot? We okay? We okay? Okay. So I'm gonna share my browser. Micah, that was huge. Thank you. I'm gonna have the AI have Fathom turn that into a short little action step item, and I'll get that email to you guys. Are you guys also aware that inside the school, inside of our group area, that I'm putting the previous calls in an archive there as a post. So in case you don't know, I'll show you right now. We'll just jump into that. Right there. Share sound. Always share sound. Why is that like that needs to just stay on, dude? If I'm sharing video through my recorder, why ask me if I want people to hear the sound? Okay. Calendar. We're back in roll call. Do you guys appreciate the screenshot and the text messages? The screen recording? Is that a
Yeah.
little helpful there?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Oh, and another housekeeping thing I wanted to ask you guys, because this is your call. Would an SMS text reminder, as more and more popular, that's become more and more popular in a few years? Now we're letting stores just text our phones, when years ago we wouldn't even give it to somebody. Like, it's crazy. Are you guys down with an SMS reminder that's a little bit more automated than me doing the manual as this thing grows and continues on? We like that? Or do you
Yeah,
like
I'm
the
good with that.
email? Do you want a Facebook group? No, that's another group we got to keep track of. But what do we think? Texting?
Yeah, I'm good with
Cool
that.
with
Quick
text. Yeah,
reminders
tag.
for dudes on the
Yeah,
fly?
text, email. I need it all.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Okay.
need everything.
Yep.
Text, email,
Kick in the
whatever
ass.
you. Yeah, whatever you can give me, I need
You got
it.
a wife, so you got the kick in the ass covered.
Oh
I'll
God.
take a personal phone call.
Personal, you got it. You got it. This guy pressing his luck over here. All right, let's do this. Let's get all audio muted if you're not me for now. And I'm going to jump on this. Okay. Oh, that's what I wanted to show you, man. In here, inside this, you come over to not classroom and not calendar, but community, right where we were. We're live on roll call right now. It shows the status. If you ever log in and see that going, it's literally live. You click that and you'll go to it. So we got our tabs, roll call archive right at the end, and then roll call number 1. By tomorrow, roll call 2 will be in there, and it'll look just like look, every single one of these. Come on, let me click this. Every single one of these is a hyperlink. Go to a spot that touched you, something you want to get back to. Just put a little scratch on your hand for a little while, or an email to yourself like, hey, go check this out. And you can look down in here. What did Mike say? What did Micah say? What did Chip say? Chip was telling that story. There it is. General steps of Earth. Like, you click these things, it will go directly to the spot in this hour and 20-minute video just to catch that spot. So it's all there. Take advantage of that. Now, video. Settle in. Oh, by the way, my YouTube channel, it's nothing like that's lighting the world on fire, but I got a lot of content on here, and I'm going to be giving this some love, so then it does add some fire to the world down the road. There's a lot here. I got a playlist called Men and something else, Men, Home, and Work. So I'm going to go into that playlist. This is a prime spot for us. And at the bottom here, a bunch of little shorts. First thing to do when you get unstuck, there's different tools in here. There's roll call number 1. These are unlisted. A little Tender is the Night, little Alex P. Keaton teaching a marriage lesson, but we're going to go into this one. And when I was sitting here the other day thinking about what was going on, I pray and I meditate on these things constantly for you guys. And this came up yesterday, not going to lie. And when I heard it come up and I was doing a fire in the back, getting the night set up for Nikki and me, yesterday was our 23rd wedding anniversary, if we don't count the one divorce. And
Right.
so we spent that day together yesterday. We went a little date night Friday, but last night we were just chilling out at home. And I got to have the UFC pay-per-view on an anniversary day. So that was pretty cool. We're going out this coming weekend for a bigger thing. But anyway, look, it's 6 minutes. Settle in. Enjoy this. This story has a major point. And then after this, so you guys can get prepared for what I'm getting ready to tell you, I'm going to open up. We're going to talk about a hot seat. We're going to do a hot seat today. I want one of you. I need one guy that we're going to go back and forth about what's been going on in a pressing issue in your life. And we're going to apply radar to it after we set it up with this context.
Choose your way to view, but make sure you tune in regardless. But just a couple of weeks ago, Anthony Smith lost one of the most important people in his entire life, his longtime jiu-jitsu coach and his best friend, Scott Morton. Through his heartache, he spoke with our own Brett Okamoto earlier this week about his decision to remain on this card.
He built a foundation on which I've been standing my whole entire career. I started training with Scotty when I was 17 or 18, maybe 18. And like our connection was tight right away. So I've never lived as an adult without him. So I don't know what the future looks like. I don't know how long I stay here without him. Like, you know, like it just doesn't matter anymore. You know, like it was always a wish of his that the career was winding down. Like he didn't want me to do this much longer anyways. So I don't know what what the future looks like after Saturday night. But yeah, I've never really competed without him. I've never prepared for a fight without him. There's been one time I can remember not having him there. It was because he had COVID really bad. And that week sucked. And I knew he was like going to be there when I got home, you know? I was just like a big brother. It's like a mentor. It's not just fighting either. It was just life and parenting and being a husband and just being a better man. So yeah, I'm a bit lost. Dominic Reyes is in such a terrible position right now. Because there's always like a healthy bit of fear, I think, for people when they go into fights. And I don't have that at all. There's nothing Dominic can do to me is going to put me in a worse place than I am right now anyways. So I just don't know. That's why I never even consider my fighting. Like I have to let it out somewhere.
I did not know that's how he was looking at this, guys. That was very compelling and hard to watch until we got to the very end there. I did not know that mindset of Lionheart. Dom, is he telling the truth? Do you imagine? Is that really how he feels? That could be quite helpful for an athletic contest.
I think Anthony Smith is in the middle of a martial arts journey. This is what martial arts is about: is taking life, distilling it, and figuring out a way to utilize it in the octagon. It really is that simple. And one of my favorite quotes is, "Until the lion learns to write, the story belongs to the hunter." So he's in the middle of that. He's right in the middle of like, okay, I'm learning to write right now. He's learning how to get through these times. This is a dark time. We've seen people lose their family and have to go in there. This is our time as a martial artist to learn how to write so that the story doesn't belong to the other people. And this is what he's going to grow from this. And no matter what, God bless him. I'm sorry he's going through that, but this is what it's about. And this is why we're all watching him, to see how you work through adversity on a martial arts stage. Transformation is a public event. He's going through it right now.
Yeah, Jake Shields, if I could just remind you guys, but he was very clearly the next best welterweight in the world to George St. Pierre. He lost his father, let's call it a Tuesday. Saturday, he was in the ring with Jake Ellenberger. It was a massive upset and didn't even get out of the first round. Meanwhile, Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson and credited the loss of his mother as powering him. And I'm only sharing with you guys, I don't know if I'm tough enough to do this. I would rather fight with a broken hand than fight with a broken heart. This is so heavy to go into it. The pressure and what you're feeling in the back and the emotion. If Anthony truly does feel the way that he is representing, it could be a very great story tomorrow night. But to act as though he is not walking on there with a major cross on his back, he is. This is hard. This is a hard one.
He's going through it.
And by the way, imagine being Dominic, where you're going to use that to your advantage. Hey, this guy's got a broken heart. Let's go out there and beat him up. Dominic is in a hard spot. Anthony's not wrong.
But on the other end of that, Dominic's going through the same thing in his own career. He didn't lose somebody, but he's trying to find himself. When you lose and you're going through this streak that he's going through right now after facing one of the best of all time and almost beating him, and then now you're going through this. He's got his own story that he's working through, and everybody gets to watch this, and that's why this fight's happening too, because these guys are competitors and nothing's going to stop them to show up their best.
And you know, Anthony made the choice to continue to compete. Wow, if I can get my words out. He made the choice to continue to stay on this card and compete. Chael, so that means, you know, he's still looking for a hand raise at the end of the day, because they're in, like Dom just said, they're in positions where a win is pretty vital to each man. I mean, when you look at their careers and you look at where they are, what they've accomplished, and what maybe is still on the trajectory in front of them, what are your thoughts on how vital a hand raise is?
Well, yes, I think that Anthony is likely to be shown grace regardless of the outcome, but his likelihood to return to a main card it's just simply not going to happen. When Dominic's talking about a potential death that Reyes is facing, a death of a career, guy, I've been there, my career in it. It's a very tough thing, and that is very real, and Dominic Reyes is quite literally fighting for that. Dominic had this great night. He's the only guy I've seen beat John Jones. I sincerely believe that he won that contest, but he never quite returned to that. Sometimes you start to believe, you start to think, wow, I'm better than I thought I was. Sometimes you get a confidence from something, that confidence works against you. I feel that Reyes needs to be real smart in this fight, because Anthony is going to come out swinging. That part, he's not lying about.
Yeah, I know we're talking about Anthony Smith and his loss, but like you just worded very eloquently, Dominic Reyes is going through a similar thing, whether you want to admit it or not. When you're looking at your career in the eye like that and you're saying, okay, this is it. There's a big thing. And I think at the end of this fight, it's bigger than, did I get the win, did I get the loss? It's, how am I going to look at myself at the end of this fight? How am I going to accept myself? Am I going to give myself credit, or am I going to just beat the heck out of myself for whatever I did in that fight?
How am I going to look at myself after this fight? That was heavy. That was deep. What am I hearing? Whoop, that's not us. Until the lion learns to write, the story belongs to the hunter. Who knows Dominic? Who knows who Dominic Cruz is? Anybody know who Dominic Cruz is that was talking, the little Hispanic guy, little Mexican dude? He is one of my favorite people in all of sports. He loves Jesus. He's a wild man. And I don't mean like wild, like John Jones loves Jesus and does cocaine and headbutts car cops or cop cars. I mean, like he's intense, man. And he's been champion. He was champion of the UFC for a very long time, years in the 135 division. His mindset, I heard him on podcasts. He's all over the place. Until the lion learns to write, the story belongs to the hunter. Who's the hunter? We have an enemy, don't we? We have an enemy who's after everything to steal from us, to kill us, to destroy us. We are God's lion, the Lion of Judah. God gives us the pen, and he directs our steps to write the story. How do we look at ourselves after this fight? So you guys are thinking about it. We're cozy right now. Steve fell off, or maybe he's just not visible. If nobody wants to do it, I'm not going to press. Anybody want to do a hot seat with me? We can practice radar in a personal life in relation to this context of fighting in our life for what matters, to take the pen, to take the story away from the hunter. We can do a little hot seat action. If we don't, I'm prepared for that too.
Go for it.
Me go for it? I want to know if somebody wants to sit with me.
No.
We run through it practically. You want to do it?
Let's
Is that
do
what
it.
you're saying?
Let's do it.
I'm down. My bad.
Hey guys, I'm Randall. I've known Adam for probably 15, 16 years. And we were
25.
Probably that. But we were in business together a long time ago. And I've seen a lot of growth through Adam and everything. And I've gone through a lot of personal growth as well. And I'm sure Adam's going to start mentioning a few of these things coming up. But yeah, let's just dive into it, man.
Okay. Give me the number one area you're willing to mention out loud that you want transformative victory in. Something new from what it is. Not better, not less yelling, not less annoyance with the boss. I want something you want complete, total victory in. It becomes something new. Just something simple to start with. Just simple scenarios, things you deal with on a daily basis. It can be simple with the kids in the car, that this trigger happens and then this person cuts me over and then I start getting all violent and the kids see me lose my temper, like whatever. It's not gonna be terribly long. We're gonna shotgun a couple things.
Okay. Anger.
Okay.
Straight up anger. There's times where, I'm at work and something just goes wrong, and there's times that I can deal with it, and then there's other times where other things are affecting it, so I just kind of fly off the handle.
Okay. What's the worst result that comes out of that? Okay, stop. Back to the share a little bit. You guys have your browsers open if you can, please. If not, it's not the end of the world. I want you to go inside I don't know who that guy is. Inside the school, and on the homepage, if you can, open up that PDF that's there. Where am I? This is why I have my tab groups over here, because I can't tell where I'm at. Now I know. Okay, in this homepage of Radar, if you can grab it, open up the Radar 1 sheet, right? And if you haven't seen the phone wallpaper yet, I'm going to show you. Look at this thing. Download that phone wallpaper for yourself. Put it on your phone. It'll help you do it. We'll come back to that. But right now, open up the Radar 1 sheet, and it's going to look like that. So, Randall, do you see it?
I'm trying to get to it.
It's okay.
I see what we have up on the screen.
Okay.
I'll get that
That's fine.
radar sheet
Just
down
do it. All good. Those are PDFs. We can get these later. So we're gonna call this area the something happens at work and I get angry. Okay, that's the reflection. We just identified it. Number one. Number two is we're gonna become more aware of what's happening because of that thing. This is the step that most of us never do until someone comes along and wakes us up to the fact that we should probably do it for our life. What is one thing that we can pinpoint under a microscope in those moments that you want to eliminate first and foremost? Likely it causes the most damage or it will deliver the most pleasure. Most of us are running from the damage more than we seek the pleasure. But for now, what happens that could hijack and be terrible for you that you don't like? You respond this, it happens every single time. It's the pattern.
I would say it's the initial frustration. It's like it in my mind. It's like
What is that thing that pricks you a little bit, that pokes you in the ribs and gets the ball rolling? That initial frustration.
I guess listening. Ultimately, what it comes down to, other people not wanting to listen to me or hear me.
The frustration. Can I venture to say this, because I know you're an open guy. When I read this story, Good Intentions, that got us reconnected.
Right.
Wild story. And then so what I'm guessing is it's a similar sense from those days of you being a kid where like you're trying to offer love, beauty, value, goodness, purity of heart, whatever the thing is, and you're not being heard. It's ignored, stepped over, discounted, disrespected, or just altogether ignored.
Yeah.
Is that fair that could actually be the thing that was from the same heart of that kid in that story from Good Intentions?
Yeah.
There's a thing there, right? So this is how it kind of feels when you're going through radar, like, maybe that is but it's been under the conscious level for so long. Now that's why the A is awareness. Oh man, I'm considering the fact that it could be that very same thing that's following me into the workplace. Have you ever considered that connection before ever?
No, I can't say that I have.
All right. And I'm not Tony Robbins. Like, I'm Adam. He ain't Adam either. That A for the second, like, this is what, let me show you something. If you guys will look it up, it is 2 Timothy 2:7. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 7. I'm sure that Fathom will get these in the notes. 2 Timothy 2, verse 7 says literally this: reflect on what I am saying, reflect, for the Lord will give you insight into all of this. So that's the Apostle Paul writing to his mentee, his student, his son in the Lord that he's raising up to be a good leader, Timothy, who was a leader in that early church. Reflect on what I'm saying, Paul, or Tim, because the Lord will give you insight to all of this. This is where the insight starts happening. Oh my gosh, that kid who was hurting back here, who just wanted to be heard, who had something good to say, but all these people were blah, 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 blah. And all along the way, and now it's in my workplace, it's in my partnerships. And then I bet there's moments where you're telling your kids something and they're not listening in moments too. And you get disproportionately upset at that, don't you?
Oh yeah. I've seen a decline in that over the last year, but yes, totally.
Yep. So it's a disproportionate reaction. That was one of the things that the Lord started using with me with the post-traumatic stress, where this tool comes from, because I'm disproportionately scared of a lot of traffic on the road. This was back then. I'm not as much now. I can sense it being there. Oh, am I going to get nervous? Because it's not totally gone. I've mastered things. I have not overcome them necessarily all the way, right? Because this is a process. Some things I have, but It's like, why? Like, that's not an appropriate reaction, but that just takes us a second to stop and look at it and reflect. Now, we're more aware of that. And I know I'm shotgunning this, but that's the purpose of this. It's supposed to be fast on the fly. Like, radar can help you figure out a problem in your life and have the solution by the time you get to a 30-minute destination. It happened to me in August, and I can tell that story later. I used it for that. Maybe September. Determine one thing you could adjust or eliminate next to serve your goals better. Example from family life. I sound just like my dad, my mom. Here's the new thought. Okay, I don't have to do that. Now, this is something for you to reflect on. Maybe write notes, and because it's, at past half the hour, we can't use it for the whole, like a coaching session primarily, right? As much as my heart and you, maybe we want to. Determine one thing you could adjust next or even eliminate. This is going to come up for you to kind of like swirl through the scenario in your mind, the way it goes. Paulo, you do the same thing. I know, Mikey, you're a very reflective and insightful guy. Like you're thinking through situations all the time. What is one thing that could bring the most impact when you sense that people are not, dude, this person just like that's coming up again. I'm being discounted. I have something valuable here. And for whatever reason, you're skipping over this and you're not even hearing me. The dignity of hearing my opinion, my input into the matter. As that's happening, that stuff starts stirring up, and I bet it can actually stir up fast to the point of an eruption, right? Like a volcano. It can come out fast because these are the areas of our deepest damage where we can trip out the fastest. We're the most sensitive. So the idea is like, what is one thing in those moments? A lot of times, and I'll give you a hint to get started. When you sense it, you got to be aware of the sensing. That's why radar is called radar, because as soon as it gets into your atmosphere, the hijacking comes because we let it get closer and closer and closer, and then the torpedo hits. If you haven't seen Hunter Killer, Hunt for Red October, it's all the same thing. But it's like when that moment happens, where I started personally in my journey was starting, all I could do was speak truth because I couldn't control the emotion. I got hijacked at a baseball game once. My kid's little league, 8 years old. I'm coaching. This is 2018, 2019. And I had a moment in front of both teams. Out loud, post-traumatic stress event. It was so bad. I left. I apologized to who I could. I was already in tears leaving the dugout. I went to the parking lot, sat in the car for, I don't know, 15 minutes, half an hour while I was calming down. And one of the coaches came and saw me and let me know that I was okay. And it was no big deal. It wasn't as bad as I was seeing it. I was completely hijacked. I didn't know how to get in there first. Where it starts is going, okay, I'm feeling this. This is not the truth. This is a deception meant to harm me. Until the lion learns to write, the story belongs to the hunter. In those moments of being tricked, the hunter's nailing us again. We have to get in there and stop that event from perpetuating. You have to look at the personal side and go and just trace out these moments in your mind. Where does it happen? And I'm telling you, within 5 attempts, you'll have a hold on it. It takes practice because we're training our brain to think about something that we're normally not aware of. To become more aware of something on our own without spending $250 an hour on a therapist or $1,000 a month on something else, which can actually take your learning curve and shorten it to almost nothing. That's why we do coaching like that. That's why we invest, so that's one thing we're going to go there. Do you have something on the top of mind?
On the top of mind, I can tell you that what happens is keeping God in the forefront of my mind in everything that I'm doing.
Okay.
So I remove myself from that situation, whether it's walk outside or just shut my mouth and begin to pray and just like, all right, God, I don't know why this is here at this moment, but take a hold of it. Okay. I need your help. And generally that adjusts, and that kind of goes into the very next section of adjusting, and breaking that cycle. Because I've been doing this, I have noticed that my anger issues have not been as elaborate or as excessive.
Beautiful. That's the idea. It should be one of the first things that do happen. So are you seeing where this could, like, you'll be able to explore this to dissolve the whole situation, to even mitigate entering into it in the first place?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Because a lot of the things, a friend of mine told me a long time ago, and it helped me a lot. She goes, I love the message of what you're saying. She goes, I love the message. She goes, I hate the delivery.
Oh, of course. That's the hardest part.
You know who told me? Paulo knows who said that. It's a mutual friend. Danya told me that.
Okay.
He knows who that is.
Yeah.
But we got, you know, these Hispanic women, these Latinas, you got to be a little bit more careful because they're not the average run-of-the-mill females, you know. Pilo knows all about that too. Do you see where then you make an adjustment? You've already done that in one way. You're going to now you're going to determine a second or third adjustment or wherever you are in that process to make it even stronger, to where you look at it and go, I used to struggle with that. I don't take that anymore. People actually hear me now. They receive what I got to say. Because maybe I read in a people skills book a long time ago, when we show up, as we show up, we're telling people how to treat us. And that's a whole new powerful thing anyway. So you make that adjustment. The adjustment keeps going little by little, each and every time. And then the repetition is God's order of repetition. There's a little framework. There's like, do I have the little eyes on there? It's intention, iteration, and introspection. So that's, if your repetition, the reason repetition doesn't work for us, if we're working out or trying to get better communicator, like whatever the thing is, it's because we're doing grandpappy's repetition. We're on the factory line doing the same thing over and over. We're never looking for a way to make the next rep better. My wife is a personal trainer. Like when I work out with her, it's annoying because she makes me go slow and pay attention literally to the contraction and the movement and the speed of every rep. It's ridiculous. But I watch her with the men that she does train on a regular basis. Their results, like they get them fast and visible, while I kind of sometimes go up and down with my progress. And that's in the gym. That's real because of her intention on every single iteration, and then looking back at it for the next rep, seeing how they're all going, introspection. That's a quick hot seat of radar. And I want you to see that. And I didn't want to, I think that was actually really, I don't know. Did that seem helpful? We can do this more and more. I haven't done it in this capacity before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So something I'd like to add to that is
please.
The story of Jesus, and the woman at the well, right?
Yep.
So the Pharisees come and they're like, hey, what should we do with this person? Well, what does he do? He just sits down, starts drawing in the sand. He takes a moment to reflect. Okay. And then he speaks softly. And then his response to her was even greater. So I use that a lot to get myself in different situations to help me get through those. You know, we may not see the bigger picture of things, but there is a bigger picture. And if we can continue focusing on God in everything that we do, that picture will become clearer and clearer as we go along. Even though we may feel like we're falling, it's like, oh man, you know, I got a great job, but then something happens, that the hot water tank goes bad at the house. Like, man, up and back down 2 steps, right? But there's a reason for that. And I actually mentioned to Adam yesterday a little peanut. Let's see if I can pull it up. God always has been showing up in our lives, but most people are too busy looking down when he shows up. And then by the time we realize that he was there, physically it's too late. So Make sure we're always looking up.
That reminds me, thank you. That reminds me of the story of a person on the house, right? They're sitting on the roof of the house with the flood happening. They're praying for God's help.
Yep.
God sends somebody in a raft. No, thanks. I already prayed for God. I'm waiting for God's help. They're like, okay. Right. And it keeps going. There's a helicopter
Yep.
dropping a ladder. No, thanks. I'm just waiting for God. Yeah. Because we're looking down at the trouble. Right. It's beautiful. All right. So look, we have, oh, that's the dad in me, man. Whenever I do this. So look, all right, look, a military dad. Anybody got any questions? You guys need a break? You need a stretch? No, we're good, huh? This guy's Mike's still driving. I think he's going to Georgia.
Stop to get the kids a slushie at Circle K. Did the right thing.
Oh, nice. Is that was the video blank? Yep. Look at there. Because you would have teased us. All right. Watch this. Have you guys seen the divergent deltas? Probably not. I don't talk about it a lot. Maybe some of you have heard me talk about it a little bit. I think I told Mike about it here and there. These divergent deltas, and I don't think I even have the screen. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Okay. I do. Back to roll call. This is this is murder. Those little video thumbnails of all your guys' faces, trying to keep that out of the way. Because sometimes I close it, but then I need to see I like to see the reaction, the body language. All right. We're going roll call, and then classroom, revamp your vision. There's the divergent deltas. I'm just going to go here for now. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I wanted the thumbnail right there. Shoot. Workbook. I bled for this workbook. My eyes burned for this workbook. I don't know where it is. There it is. But I want to show you these deltas real quick because they give a tremendous amount of understanding. They give a tremendous amount of understanding why we end up where we are. Oh, and it's not updated because I got the ones upside down. Look, so traditional mindset, old way, relying on physical senses, life as a sleepwalker. God showed me this is called the dogma delta. The eternal mindset, life in the spirit, walking in fulfillment, walking in our calling and our purpose, and aligned, and the world would call this actualized, all these things. It's always a process. It's not truly either or, by the way, but that black line is in the middle because these are deeply separated. And the one on the left, I've updated this graphic and I need to update it here in the workbook, but that one on the left is actually upside down. And we're the one that's upside down. We're at the bottom. And I've already done it over here. So I'm going to show you, see, I know I have this somewhere. Dang it. To get my act right. See oh, you're not going to be able to see it. It's terrible. It's upside down. And it says, instead of saying incongruency, it says mistaken. Mistaken identity. People die in movies and gang shootings in real life all the time because of mistaken identity. We end up with all this discontentment. You guys have heard me talk about this a little bit before, where dude, my life is out of sorts. I should be happy. I got this discontentment, this lack of fulfillment. It's mistaken identity. We're living by the world. We're living by all these other voices. Randall said, put it another way. Instead of seeing God, we're looking at the dirt. We're looking down. The old analogy of chickens pecking around in the dirt, and then there's the eagle that's born with it, but the eagle sees the other eagles and then realizes he was supposed to fly the whole time. It's a similar concept. The dogma delta will destroy us because this is the devil's playground in our mind. And then, my story was the one where it went down to rock bottom. That's what happened for me. I was so tripped out and lost and frustrated by the time I'm in my mid-20s that I just couldn't tolerate anything. The divine delta, when we're walking with the Lord, the new delta says God aligned. We're aligned with the Lord. We're seeking the kingdom first. That's why we don't have to be perfect to live in the divine delta. And then all that abundant life stuff starts seeping in all over the place. And we end up taking pictures and crying all the time as a 45-year-old man because oh my God, you are faithful. You told me this back in 2007, that if I did X, Y, Z, you would bless me. You would turn this around. You would do things that make us a light in the world, and not just me, but Nikki. Yesterday, she wrote part of the chapter 7 that's going to come with our reconciliation. She put her words in there. There's going to be dialogue that I get to offer in the book about that time period of how in the name of the devil's hell did we make it out of that. And so these divergent deltas are huge. So all that to go, okay, there's the foundation. That's a foundational thing. And from there, we're like, okay, I'm going to stop sharing and just talk. As of today, I noticed this. So I follow this guy, and I'm a little bit trippy right now because I want to bring up two things, but I got to do them in the right order. I was following this guy named Myron Golden. I like him a lot. Myron Golden. I'm going to say it again because I actually recommend Myron. He's in Tampa too. If I would have had this dude 20 years ago, who knows what he could have taught me, because he's further down the road. He's 60s, and he's got kingdom principles about finances and success and living life that I needed and I'm using. He says the difference between what we want to have and what we currently have, and why we don't get it when we know we're capable, smart, strong men. Why? Today is this, tomorrow is that. Whether it's impact, material, it doesn't matter. The family life, the marriage, the career, the body. If I know, why don't I have that? We've heard, well, I know, but I don't do, so whatever. It's more complicated than that. He's like, the difference is between what we know and what we have not implemented yet that we do know. And I love that. It's a different way of saying the same old message. So like this message of doing what we know to implement, that closes the gap to get to where we want to go. Mike is using cold water every day to accomplish this very thing. Like, that's the idea of it. Implementing what we know. I know cold water is good for me. I don't do it because it freaking sucks. Like, okay, well, that's the gap to the next spot of getting to where we want to go, right? So when I'm looking at that, I'm going, and I'm going to tell you, this is the personal one. So I put in here, I wrote this like almost a week ago to myself. As of today, I am not the man capable of living that rich life at the ranch. What's the ranch? You guys have heard me talk about this 4,000 acre ranch God has put on my heart. I'm not the guy that can run that today. I know that because that's going to be a multi-million-dollar entity, an enterprise, an atmosphere, an environment to be a part of. And it doesn't mean like my own money. We're talking like, right, this is a vision, all these things there. The lifestyle we live is an expression. The lifestyle we live is an expression of who I am right now, including ice cream and comfort. There's only one way up: grow, decide. These are things that I send myself. Using radar to do that, we are able to put a magnifying, I call it like radar magnifies the moment. When life feels chaotic and it's spinning and we're going toward like a little bit of the call to action that I'm going to leave you guys with for the next 2 weeks, because we got one more session before Christmas, and I'm really hoping it lifts some energy in some homes and in your personal spirit. Let's look for, when you're paying off credit card debt, they teach you, one of the first things they teach you is this. Pay off, people want to pay off that high balance first. I'm sorry. Pay off the high balance first. It seems logical because we're going to get rid of the biggest chunk that we owe. But actually, because the way interest works, $1,000 balance with a 25% interest rate is way worse than a $10,000 balance with a 2% interest rate. Way worse on your money because consumer interest kills us. So what we do is we go for that highest balance that we can, but really the one with the highest interest rate, to begin pecking that down. And then over a year or two, you'll get them all wiped out. Nikki and I did that with like 50 grand worth of debt in 3 years. And it was incredible the way that it worked. And that was some time ago. In that way, in our life today, December 2024, heading into a new year, Randall began working on that in the workplace with the anger. What's the biggest occurrence? What's the biggest thing that happens each and every time that causes the most damage or prevents me from moving ahead the most? It's probably easier to think about what causes the most damage. What causes the house to get thrown into a frenzy the fastest? And For me to stop yelling, I had to apply that, but we'll wait on that one. I use this to stop yelling. Like, I don't yell in the house anymore. That's crazy. I come from a long line of yellers, Polak yellers, yellers, alcoholic yellers. I was conditioned by, and then I went in the army for 12 years. So it works. The big thing that I'd love to talk about that I love if you guys are like, if this isn't relevant, you got to tell me. But I think in the next 2 weeks, which leaves us when we meet again, we'll have just a few days before Christmas Day. I know for a fact in this room, there are houses. There are men and women on both sides, whether single or married, that peace and harmony could be the biggest blessing of all this month. I know it for a fact. I'm having the conversations with you guys. What is one thing that could give us the biggest splash heading into the last week of the year, into the new year, into Christmas morning in your life that you can apply? If you do that, you find that thing out and you want to tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, can we do a half an hour to an hour on the phone? Couple sticking points. I want this. I think I got the idea. Can we run through, help sharpen, polish my thinking on this heading into the end of the year? I want to offer that. I had no idea I was going to do that. This is right now. This is spirit led. And I want to be able to do that because this time of year, it's so much more than pageantry and magic of lights and music. God came here. He came here for the purpose of dying, so we could live with the freedom that most of us in this room are not living with right now. We're allowing the hunter to continue writing the story because we don't know that we hold the pen. We're holding it right now. We don't need God to give it to us. He gave it to us with the death on the cross when we said, Lord, you're my savior. Here you go. In his heart, man plans his course, but the Lord directs his steps. Let's get planning the course. Stay open to the move of the Lord, the seeking of his righteousness first, as Randall was saying. Seeking him first, keeping our eyes up. I love the metaphor of that, the spirituality of keeping your eyes up, because we can't miss it if we are. The radar will help the stuff land on there that when the potential damage, the enemy's forces move into our life, the hunter is seeking us down with his dogs, steal, kill, and destroy. The radar will allow us to catch it, and we can begin writing the new story in the moment. And so your homework, should you choose to accept it, your mission is to find that one thing or one topic, whatever the thing, right, that could give the biggest splash for the effort put in of turning the energy around in your life. If it's the energy of struggling physically, it's not different. It's the same. I'm putting in the sense of like husband, wife, and then single guy in his house, because like when our hearts are strong, we can pretty much take on anything. When our hearts aren't strong, we can barely handle anything. That's how I feel. And that's the offer for the next couple weeks. The silence feels a little bit heavy. So maybe it's sitting in some impact here. Talk to me.
Could you repeat that again, please? So you're saying like for the next week, like what is it? Something that we want for 2025 to be better at, or what?
I got you. Yes. And so that's going to be the bigger picture of moving into the year. My intention with this right now is to make the next 3 weeks as great as they can be in your life. As great. And sometimes if 10 is the great peak, sometimes the greatest we can get to is a 4, 5, 6. It's like middle ground. No one's yelling. We're getting along. It's a little icy sometimes. And I'm talking because my mindset is so about my wife, right? Like, because we had talks this week. It's never just there. We never arrive. But yes, that one thing that looks like, okay, what can we do for Christmas? It's a timeliness thing too, right? So what can be better? We can't pay off 50 grand of debt by Christmas if money's the thing. And we might not get that brand new dream career in the next 2 weeks. Maybe that's the thing for 25. But what could make the end of this year finish strong that would lift your heart during the holiday season? That would lift our hearts during we're spending all sorts of money on all sorts of crap that is not going to be used in 2 months. And how do we deal with that when we know we're doing the thing for the family and yet okay, we're hurting, we're cutting our financial lives a little bit because these kids think that this is how I show them love and I got to get them some plastic crap. Right? My youngest is 13. I've done it 4 times. So this is the way it goes. And more as they're getting older, they understand investing money in experiences. So we've done cruises more, we've done little trips more often instead of in less stuff. And this year will be more of that. But that's us. For Steve, it's different. He's battled significant physical challenges since the summer, a life and death risk injury, a near-death crash on his motorcycle. And his wife was just T-boned by a deer. Like, people talk about if I live where hurricanes came, I would move. I'm like, this dude's being attacked by rabid deer. So who knows what the rest of the year could be. But if it's a frustrating thing where men, a lot of times, I know this. Look, I'll speak for myself. When I get physical challenges in the past, I would feel more sorry for myself than I would try to make myself strong. I'd feel bad for myself, self-pity. And I was raised by a dad who did this, who used to be a bike gangster out of Detroit. I think this is kind of one of the hallmarks of being a man. In our weakness, when we're overtaken, we get a little bit self-pitiful. And I don't think women struggle with that as much as we do, but we do. What would prevent some of that coming in? Because it's not about shame. What would prevent us from going that way? Because that makes us weaker. That doesn't serve the stronger picture. How do we make ourselves stronger? Radar. What am I doing? I get out of bed, I do this. Steve's figured out some things that have made him feel stronger. And I know one thing is focusing on grandkids will help you do that. It will help you feel less bad for yourself when you're focusing on your granddaughter, right, Steve? Yep.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense, P? Where you can call me after. We can do this offline too. I have no problem chatting with you because the idea, I know Mike is wanting to have a strong Christmas season with his boys and in himself when it's not clicking the way we want it to click in our personal life. I know that. So what's that one thing that okay, realistically, adult time frame, I could do some things in the next few weeks. And then I could really do some things in the next year in this area. That's the idea. Some of this, it was initially sparked by relational conflict in my mind. What to do this, because we all have relationships, no matter what. Even if it's just our parents, just our kids, whatever. So I think relational pain around this time, we had a friend lose her husband to suicide 2 months ago. I mentioned this on the first call. 2 months. They're 40s. They're early 40s. 5 kids. And she already struggles with ADHD and a couple different things like that. And she lost him, man. She's heading into this Christmas season having found him in the car. The after effect. She found him. At work. A cop. He was a cop. At work, and he ended his life with a gunshot to the head. At work in Tampa. I know I've said at work 7 times. She found him because she felt it in her gut when she was out and about running errands. She goes over there and sees that. I don't have those skills to help her hypnotize herself out of that image. But that's what she's working on right now. We don't have anything quite that heavy in the room. Thank God for that I know of. But that would be something like if she was talking to a woman to help her with radar, how do we lessen the impact of that horror? I don't even want that challenge, man. But how do we make this Christmas season a little bit stronger with some things that have been repetitive patterns? Because I promise you, you can. I promise you it can happen that fast. It's not a problem. Randall made that connection from the kid struggles that I read the story of that he wrote as a man. from the kid to the stuff that he brought up that's prevalent in his life, the most pressing today. One of the most pressing things that's in his life right now, that let's fix this up. Let's eliminate that one out of the way. Made that connection. I'm not magic. This tool is radar. If you reflect on what I say, I will give you insight, says the Lord. It's a promise. You have a radar tool to do it. Pick a thing, let me know. And if you do, let's work on that a little bit in the next couple weeks till we show back up here in 2 weeks. And we do it again. We talk about more and more success stories and try to have just a strong, the lightest type of Christmas in our hearts that we can, and hopefully on our wallets too. How's that sound?
Good.
The wallet's on the mind, bro. And look, I get shirts like this. I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but look at this shirt.
I like that.
Violent gentleman. Why? Because a man who does not have the capacity to be violent is not a good man. He can't be a good man. Even if he wants to be, that's different, but he can't be if he's not, doesn't have the capacity for violence. Jesus has the capacity for violence. It's strong. The Lion of Judah is going to rip your face off. Okay. But I got that. It's a hockey club from Canada. I love that thing because we're going to go and we're going to let's make our call to action this week that the lion realizes he has the pen and can begin writing his story. Let's take it back from the hunter who's been deceiving us, stealing from us, killing us, and destroying our hopes, destroying our potential, our real enemy, the real one. Let's get violent with this. But it's in the name of the Lord. No, not even the archangel Gabriel or Michael challenge the devil face to face themselves. The Lord rebuke you, not them. So we can't do that either. I've tried that with F words on the highway. It doesn't work. Things tend to go worse for me when I tell the devil to F off. I try not to communicate to the devil directly anymore. Anyway, all right, I'm going to pray. If you guys got any questions before we wrap up and get out of here? No hands, no hands, no hands. Got it. All right, we're going to wrap up. That's our call to action. All this will be in the roll call. Let's do this. Father, I thank you. I'm ever in awe of you, and I am in gratitude that you've involved me in this. You've given me this to show the men. The men are coming. We're making this ours, truly ours. And where this goes, you know. Help us take the pen back in our life. Help us know that you've given us the authority and autonomy as men, as the kings of our domain, the kings of our kingdom. And we have the authority in your name to write the story as we see fit, led by you, as we all will do in this room. May our hearts ever be receptive to you. May our eyes be up. And may we remember each other that we're in this battle together, fighting the same common enemy, the enemy of our souls that you've already won. Help us remember. Help us remember what we could be if we would only believe. Help us remember our role in you. You are both masculine and feminine. Help us remember the Father of us, the Father nature that you have, that you've put in us. And let us be strong, Lord. Let us not lay down weakness. Our family needs us. Our community needs us. But most importantly, we need us to stand in your truth. Let us remember to use radar. Let us remember the pen. Let us remember each other. And let us remember to stand up, to show up present and accounted for the life that you've given us to lead. And we will follow, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. Whoa, Costco back in effect. All right, guys, I'm here. I love you very much. The replay session will be in the roll call area. I showed you where it was. It's in the discussion board, roll call archive. It's there. Check out the tools. Check out the equipment. If you need anything, I'm here for you. I love you. Enjoy your Sunday. 2 weeks and a half till Christmas. 2 weeks till we're back together. I'm here. Let me know. Next time.
Adios.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bless.
Thanks,